Hello. I thought I'd talk a little bit about our rhubarb and custard trio of perfumes, because last week I was running a workshop. It was quite intense, 3 Zooms a day, sending people off to make their own fragrances, and we discussed a lot of different materials, and one of the ones that came up was hemp. Now, there is no hemp in rhubarb and custard, so why does this arise? Well, the guys were looking for something with a marijuana-ish smell, and you might think that hemp essential oil would have a marijuana-ish smell, but it doesn't really, because hemp's mostly used to make sacks from, like potato sacks, coffee sacks, those big, no, as in actual sackcloth. It's made out of hemp. It's very strong. That's mostly why it's grown, for the fabric, like linen. So hemp essential oil tends to smell just a little bit sort of earthy and damp. But I accidentally made the smell of marijuana once. And it was when we were making rhubarb and custard for the Facebook group, Mrs. Gloss and the Goss. We were making rhubarb and custard. So what I did was made a vanilla custard accord, which is called Creamy Vanilla Crumble, and it's quite popular of ours, you know. It's got, the colour comes from Vanilla Absolute, and it's got Hay Absolute in there as well, and Tobacco Absolute. So it's vanilla for grown-ups. So we made that. We also made a rhubarb and citrus cologne. This is where it gets interesting. And then we balanced it out in the group. There were 10 people in the room, and we played with it at different strengths to see what was going to be the perfect ratio. Well, we ended up, and why it's called rhubarb and custard 1:29, is that it works with 1 part rhubarb and citrus cologne and 29 parts vanilla to balance out a proper rhubarb crumble smell, which is quite a balancing exercise. And those of you who have been working on balancing exercises in our perfumery classes will know that 1:29 is really quite a big ratio. We always start off at 1:1 and maybe get as far as 1:5, you know. 1:29. Jean-Carl would be proud of us. Well, rhubarb and custard, that's actually made it into Nay magazine, of which I am very, very proud. I want to come back to this particular little one, the rhubarb and citrus cologne, because I was walking through Amsterdam once and I thought to myself, wow, I can smell somebody wearing my rhubarb and citrus cologne. But it wasn't, was it? It was somebody walking through Amsterdam smoking a joint. And to my surprise, I realised I'd accidentally made the smell of marijuana. Sam Scriven, I sent you a day. She tried it out one day and her husband got home and said, have you been smoking dope? And she said, no, I don't smoke anything. And he said, well, why do you smell like the secret corner around the back of the cinema? And so she had to give it away. I've had one of our customers, she got reported, she's a teacher, she got reported to the head teacher by one of the students for coming to school smelling that she'd been smoking marijuana. And it wasn't, she was wearing our rhubarb and citrus cologne. Well, how did I accidentally do this? I used 2 synthetic materials with a whole bundle of natural citrus. That's why it's sort of colourless, this one. So there's grapefruit in there, there's lemon, there's orange, but also methyl pamplemousse. I suppose we could either call it methyl grapefruit or methyl pamplemousse, but its name is, we tend to call it methyl pamplemousse. You know, what with pamplemousse being French for grapefruit. Very, very intense grapefruity material. It's wonderful. All the best grapefruit fragrances are going to have this cutting through, because it doesn't just disappear. And grapefruit essential oil tends to end up smelling like oranges anyway. So if you want actual intense grapefruit smell, you use methyl pamplemousse. Also, rubifuran, which is the 2 synthetic rhubarby smells. But there's the 2 together, and you get that smell when you wander around a park anywhere in London, probably anywhere in the UK, but anywhere in the world, I don't know. But there is that bunch of teenagers think they don't know what we don't know what they're doing aroma, and they're all smoking dope, and you can smell it from half a mile away. That. It was an accident, but if you ever feel like you want people to think you're the naughty kid, but actually you don't want to smoke the stuff because it's not good for your health, then you might like to try rhubarb and citrus cologne. If you want it to smell like actual rhubarb, then get rhubarb and custard 1:29, because actually I like that better. But we have to keep this because we need it to make the rhubarb and custard. So there you go. Accidental marijuana smell. Unlikely to get it from hemp.